Welcome. Torah portion, Pikude. The last Torah portion of the book of Shmois, of the book of Exodus, second book. We are the chapter 38, verse 21. Avita, please let people in. Thank you. Okay. Eile Pikude Amishkan. These are the numbers, the counting, the tally of the Mishkan of the tabernacle, the home for God. Yeah, got to start. Mishkan Haidus is the Mishkan, the sanctuary of the testimony, Asher Pukad Alpi Moshe, that was counted according to Moshe, to Moses, Avodas HaLevim, the work of the Levites, Biad Isamar ben Aaron HaKoyen, under the direction of Isamar, the son of Aaron. Rashi. Okay. Eile Pikude, these are the accountings, right? This is accounting. The Parsha said, Mishkan, and this, in these passages, all of the weights of the contribution of the Mishkan are listed. For the silver, the gold, and the copper. Nimna kol kelav, and all of the implements have been listed in it. For all of the work that was done in the temple service. Mishkan, Mishkan, right? It says, these are the numbers or the accounting of the Mishkan, right? So it's two words right in a row. Rashi picks up on it. Shnei Pamim, stated twice. Remez HaMikdash is an allusion to the base of Mikdash, the holy temple. Sheni's Mashchan Mishnei Achurbanim, because they were taken as collateral in two destructions. Alavainish Allah Yisrael, on the sins of the Jewish people. Interesting terminology. Well, at another point, look at the sikha on that. Right? They were taken as, because the word collateral in Hebrew comes from the word also mashkan. Mashkain. A mashkain is a collateral. Mishkan. Right. So that's how. So it's a mashkain on the Mishkan, right? That God took it as collateral. Why? Meaning He took it away from us, right? What happens when you take collateral? Right? Whatever the object is taken from you, you don't have it, right? It's in the possession of someone else. Exactly. Mishkan Eidus, it's a Mishkan of testimony. Eidus Yisrael, there's a test. What does it mean? Testimony. What's the testimony here? Testimony for the Israelites. Sheviter lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'maaseh egel. That God overlooked the incident of the golden calf for them. Sha'arei Yishra Shechinosa b'neihem, because He rested His divine providence, His divine presence rather, over them in the Mishkan. In other words, this is the Mishkan was, a sign that God is still amongst the Jewish people, even after sinning from the golden calf. Right? That's why it's called Mishkan Ha'edus. It's the work of the Levites. What was the work of the Levites? So this refers to the accounting, right? They were the accountants of the Mishkan and all of the vessels, all of the implements, which the assignment was given to the Levites in the desert. And what was, so in other words, they took care of the accounting, but they also took care of all of the service, which refers to the carrying and taking down and erecting the Mishkan, right? That was their job. Each each individual had his burden that he's charged with. As we will see in a couple of Torah portions. Oh, sorry, not in a couple. We'll see in the book of Bamidbar in another several Torah portions. Biad Isamar, in the hands of Isamar, he was in charge over them. To assign each family the work that they were responsible for. Oops, sorry. Okay. Continuing, verse 22. Betzalel ben Uri ben Chor Lamati Yehuda, and Betzalel, who is the son of Uri, the son of Chor Lamati Yehuda, to the tribe of Yehuda. All says Moshe. He had made everything that Hashem commanded Moshe. Rashi, right? We already know who he is, right? Yet it tells us again. So Rashi Betzalel ben Uri ben Gemer also says okay, Betzalel the son of Uri, he did everything that he was commanded. Asher tzuva ein ksivkan. It doesn't say that which he was commanded, right? Ella kol tziva Hashem as Moshe. But rather, in other words, not that he was commanded Betzalel, but rather all that Hashem had commanded Moshe. Afilu dvarim shaloi amar Rabbi. This implies that even with regard to matters of which his master Moshe did not tell him, Betzalel's mind was in accord with that which had been said to Moshe at Sinai. In other words, it doesn't say over here that which he was commanded, like he is Betzalel, but that which Moshe was commanded. But we're speaking about Betzalel, though.
But it comes across as though Moshe had given different instructions to Betzalel.
Well, let's see. Let's see. He's going to explain now. He's going to explain what this means. Moshe had commanded Betzalel to make furnishings first, and afterwards the Mishkan. Right. In other words, to make the ark and the candelabra and so on and so forth, and then make the Mishkan. Amar le Betzalel said to him, the common custom of the world is that you first make the house, and only afterwards you put the furnishings into it. Right. So in other words, the opposite way. You should make first the Mishkan and then the vessels. Moshe told them the other way around. Right. Moshe said to him, but this is the way I heard it from the mouth of God. Moshe went on and said to him, you were in God's shadow. But Betzalel is made up of two words. Betzel, the shadow. Tzel means shadow. Kale, of God. He was in the shadow of God. So he's saying now to Betzalel, right? You were in the shadow of God. For indeed, this is what Hashem actually did command me. And so he did it. First he made the Mishkan. Afterwards he made the furnishings. He made the implements.
Yes, the question I'm asking is, well, why did Moshe tell him the reverse? When Hashem told him, the reverse of what he told Betzalel.
Good question. Yeah, 22.
They commanded Betzalel to make the vessels. Commanded him.
So according to the Gur Aryeh, so he explains that the implements are more important than the Mishkan, right? The implements are carried. The Mishkan is put into wagons. So they're more important. They're more important. So therefore, he said the more important thing first, and then the less important thing second. But Bezalel, who needed to do things in a practical manner, right? And that's what he says to him, right? Practically speaking, it should be the other way around. So therefore, he showed him, he did it and suggested it need to be done the other way. And in the end, it was correct. In other words, he was teaching it the way it needs to be appreciated. He taught it this way, right? That first was the implements and then the Mishkan. But in actuality, it had to be the Mishkan first, right? So that's how he explains it. Well, I'm going to see what the Rebbe says on it, but that's how the Gorarya, the Maharal explains. Okay, 23. Eliyav ben Achisamach, and with him was Eliyav, the son of Achisamach, Lamate to the tribe of Dan. Charash v'choshev. He was a craftsman and a master weaver. He was a craftsman, a master weaver, v'reikim, and an embroiderer. With 4 different materials, right? With tchelis, which is purple, blue rather, wool. Tchelis, argaman is purple wool. V'salah shani is crimson wool, and vishesh and linen. Those, right? Kol hazav hasuya l'malacha, all the gold that was used for the work. L'chol malechas ha'kodesh, for all of the holy work. Yazav atnufa teisha ve'esrim kikar. So the gold of the waving was 29 talents. Kikar is a talent. Not America's Got Talent, no. Shekel, 730 shekels. The shekel HaKodesh in the holy shekel. Let's see Rashi. He's giving us the weights. So these are weights. Kikar, there's a lot. Shisha mana comprises 60 mana. Well, mana shel kodesh kofel haya, and a mana of sanctity in the base of Mikdash in the Mishkan was a double standard mana. Harei kikar meya ve'esrim mana. So the kikar referred to as 120 mana, twice out of a standard one, right? As we said. V'amana esrim v'chamesh slaim, and a mana is 25 slaim. Harei kikar hakodesh shleishes alafim shkalim. So it comes out that the kikar, sanctified kikar, is 3,000 shkalim. Fikach mana rutot kol shkalim shebchusim and minyanim v'shloishim alafim. So it comes out from this the individual sums of the shkalim, which was less than total than 3,000 shein magim lakikar, because it did not add up to a kikar. 1 second. Let's just see over here.
And 730 shekels is less than a kippa.
All right. Does it say there anything about what that is in modern day weights? Does it say? Right. Okay. 25. Kesef Pikudi Aida. Shemilev, come and join us.
Usual food here?
The Kesef Pikudi Aida. Yeah, food for the soul is every day we got food for the soul.
No food.
Yeah, tomorrow on Tuesday. I made a mistake. I thought it was today.
And have breakfast.
Shemilev, just to let you know, you're live and across the world. Okay.
So what?
Uh,
All the mistakes I've been making.
No, Shimon, but you don't have to tell the whole world. You just keep it to yourself. Okay, no. Okay, genug shoy. Okay, the Kesef Pikudi Aida and the silver that was counted of the counted of the community Me'esa Kikar Me'as kikar was 100 talents. Elef u'shva me'ois v'chamishim. So it was 100 talents, 1,775 shekels. Chamishim mishim shekel, b'shekel hakodesh, a holy shekel. Okay. By the way, it was like millions of dollars over here of stuff in today's value, right? Becca legol goyelis, 1 becca per head, machzis a shekel, which was the machzis a shekel, the shekel hakodesh, and a holy shekel, lechola iver apikudim, for all those that pass through the counting, ben esrim shana v'mayla, from 20 years up, upwards, sheish me'os elef, for the 600,000, the shloishes alofim, 600,000, 3,000, v'chamesh me'os, and 500, v'chamishim, and 50. That was the from 20 and up. So it's 20 and up. I thought it was till 20 to 60, but it doesn't give a upper limit. Huh? What? Sorry?
No, I said you're right. It's interesting what you said.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I think it's the second time I noticed it. I don't remember I think maybe in Parshas Kisisa. I don't know if it says there even the upper limit. Okay. Rashi. Becca, who shem mishkal shel machzis a shekel. This is a term of the the weight of a half a shekel is a becca, right? Sheish me'os elef, 600,000. Kacha Yisrael. This they were the number of the Israelites. Kacha Allah b'minyanim acher shukam mishkan, and their number amounted to this too after the mishkan was erected. B'sefer v'yidaber in the book Vayidaber, meaning in the book of Numbers. Interesting why he calls it that. Afata, now too. The Nidvas of Mishkan, with the contribution of the Mishkan, Kachayu, such was their number. Ominyan Achetzoya Shkolim, and the total of half Shkolim, Sheish Meos Ve'elef, of the 600,000, Oila Meis Kikar, comes to 100 Kikar. Kol echad shel shleishes alafim shkolim. Of the 3,000 shkolim each. Ketzad, how do you arrive at this calculation? Sheish me'os elef chotzoya you ein shalish shesha me'os elef shleimim. That's 600,000 half shkolim are 300,000 whole shekels, right? That makes sense, right? Half of 600,000. Which is only half a shekel, so 300,000 is a full shekel. Harei ma'as kikar, at the rate of 3,000 shkolim per kikar, so that gives you 100 kikar. Okay, you got that. Then 300,550 of a half a shekel to make it into a full shekel, comes out to 1,775 shkolim. That is
Half of the remainder.
right, half of the remainder, right? Okay. He ma'as kikar kesef, 100 talents of silver. Kesef, latsekes is adnei hakodesh, that were used for casting the sockets. There's adnei apareches. And for the sockets of the dividing curtain, the pareches, right, the divided in the holy and the holy of holies, and 100 sockets out of 100 talents, 1 talent for each socket. Means to pour. Casting, meaning that was poured, it was in other words melted down and it was poured into a form to make these sockets. 27 further in Rashi is Adnei HaKodesh, the sockets of holiness. Shel Kashi HaMishkan, this refers to the sockets that were used for the beams for the Mishkan. Shehem Arba'im Mishmeina Karashim, there were 48 beams. Olahem Tisha Shisha Adanim, so there were 2 sockets for each, so that made it 96 sockets. There were 4 sockets for the curtain, right? So that gives you 100. Haremea, that's a total of 100. All shara adarim nechoshet ksuv bahem, and the rest of the sockets that were used for the the perimeter of the Mishkan, that was made from copper, not from silver. Okay, 28. We're good so far? There's a elef ushva me'ais v'chamishim, and out of the 1,700 v'chamishim v'shivim asa bavei amudim, so there was 1,775 shekels, right? So from that was made the hooks for the pillars. And they recovered their tops and banded them. Right, they were the hooks to hold the perimeter, right? And they were made from silver. Rashi in 28. Tzipa Reshehem, they recovered their tops. Shelamudi Mehem, he covered the tops of the pillars from them, the 1,775 shkolim that are mentioned in this verse, right? Shebekulam ksi, for all of the pillars, it's written tzipa reshehem mechashukim kesef. They recovered their tops, and their bands was silver. Verse 30. Yas ba is adei pesach oyel mayed, and from it they made sockets. We're in 30 now. Oh, I'm sorry, 29, right. And the copper of the waving, Shivim Kikar, were 70 talents, Alpine Ba'arba Meos shekel, 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. I don't know what it means, copper of the waving. Why is it called? The Yasba, what did they do with this? With this copper? They made from it, they made the sockets. But these sockets that we just mentioned, Rashi, right? That they're made from copper. These are not the planks going into them. For the entrance to the tent of meeting, this is outside of the tent of meeting, right? And also for the copper altar, also was made from copper necheshes. There's michbar necheshes, and the grating that was made for the altar, asher loiv, which was for the altar, it's called klei hamizbeach, and all the implements that were for the altar, they were all made from copper. There's adei achatzer saviv, and the sockets also for the courtyard all around. This was right for the entrance into the holies. Now we're talking about the sockets that were for the courtyard, that was, the outer perimeter. Saviv is adnei shara chotzer, all around these sockets for the gate of the courtyard. It's called Yistais HaMishkan, and all of the pegs that were made for the Mishkan, it's called Yistais HaChotzer Saviv, and all of the pegs for the courtyard around. So the pegs for the Mishkan, that's from copper, and also for the courtyard, right? That was to hold down everything. Minat cheles rather, and from the purple, Argamon from the, blue. Tcheles is blue. Argamon is purple. V'tzelah shani, the crimson wool. Also, big day srad. Argamon v'tzelah shani. Yeah. So the whatchamacallit is not here. The linen is not mentioned, right? Also, big day srad. They made the meshwork garments, l'sharis b'akedesh, to serve in the holies. Also, it's big day akedesh. Also, Aaron's holy asher la'Aaron, that were Aaron's holy garments. Asher tziva Hashem et Moshe, as Hashem it commanded Moshe. Let's see Rashi over here in this verse. Minat cheles argaman, from the blue and the purple. Sheish loy nemar kan. Oh, he mentions here. Linen was not mentioned here. You can on the Yomer from here. I say she'ain big day srad halolu big day kuna. So this mesh garments are not priestly garments of the kohanim. Should be big day kuna hayashesh, because in the priestly garments there was linen.
But there's a question of this Rashi, because when I read this, I already knew what Rashi is saying, but it's saying, it doesn't say only Asu Bigdei Israel B'Shabbat HaKodesh, and there, it also says Asu Bigdei HaKodesh Shel Ha'aron.
Well, let's finish Rashi. Okay, let's first finish Rashi. Should be big day kuona hayashesh, because in the priestly garments there was linen, right? That we learned that in Pashas Tzava. That's very clear. Ella hein begadim mechasim b'hem klei kodesh. This is the garments that were covering the holy vessels. B'shas siluk hamai. So it's when the time for departure on their journeys, Ayabahem sheish, there was no linen in them. So that's what he explains it, and I think we've learned this already previously. Yeah, we learned this previously, and in part I don't remember if it was in the Tzava. I don't recall now which parsha, but we learned this, that the garments, they were called garments, that covered like the menorah and the ark and so on, right? That when they traveled and they were carried, they were covered, right? So they were made only from wool, the three types of wool, but not from linen, because it's clear in Parshas Tetzaveh that the Big Day Kuna was made. So, because it's the term over here, it says Big Day Kodesh. It says Asher La'aren, that is for Aaron. So it might sound like it is for him. But the truth is, it doesn't really make, not very clear to me, because why would it be for Aaron? Well, what's it for Aaron? Our pasuk, it says La'aren. What do you mean? What do you mean that they're for Aaron?
It says.
No, but this is, if anything, it should be for the Levim. Because the Levim are the ones who use that, or those garments to cover. That was their job. So what's Aaron got to do with it? And Isamar is in charge of them, not Aaron. So it doesn't fit. I don't get that.
That's what I didn't get either at the end, because it says Bigdei Israel B'Shabbat HaKodesh. So far, that's fine. But then it continues by Yasu Bigdei HaKodesh Shel Ha'aron. That's the question really. Why?
That's what I just said. Exactly. That's exactly what I just said.
But the thing is that Bigdei, what Rashi is saying is that Bigdei Israel is the things that you look at the Rashi. It says Bigdei Israel are the things that you cover the utensils with. So the question is, why is it not said shesh, the linen? Because it does continue to say V'asu Bigdei HaKodesh Asher Le'Aaron, which is something different than the Bigdei Israel, and even by the Ta'amim we can see that. But I don't know. It's just maybe a short, not clear. So we don't understand.
No. V'yasu's Bigdei HaKodesh is referring to the Bigdei Asrad. It's the same thing. But the question I have is, what do you mean La'aron? What do you do with for Aaron? What's Aaron got to do with it? His son Isamar is in charge. So if you want to say him, fine, right? And in fact, who's actually using it? The Levim, right? We just said that. So it doesn't. I don't understand it. We'll have to look it up further. Okay, I'll see you shortly. Sorry.